We're on. All right, good. Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's program on this Tuesday, October 13th, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryTV.com or go to the featured channel to watch some of the latest programs there at IndianCountryTV.com. Here are the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Stepping into the afternoon sun during September, Jeannie Red and her daughter Jerica walked away from a federal courthouse recently with probation papers, not prison time, for their role in the theft and illegal trafficking of Indian artifacts. Some, including one of the Salt Lake City's daily newspapers, expressed frustration that the judge didn't come down harder on the duo from southern Utah. History, however, says the punishment for the Reds, who pled guilty to several felonies, was fairly typical. Despite high-profile arrests and indictments, most people convicted of illegally digging up, collecting, and cashing in on artifacts in the United States don't go to prison. And for those that do, most are in for a year or less, according to a 10-year analysis of prosecutions. The sentences didn't surprise Robert Palmer, an archaeologist and former academic who analyzed Archaeological Resources Protection Act prosecutions from 1996 to 2005. His analysis found that of 83 people found guilty, 20 went to prison and 13 of those received sentences of a year or less. Palmer also found that while prosecutors were successful in the cases they took on, they turned away about a third of the cases they got, mostly because of weak evidence or lack of clear criminal intent. On average, 840 looting cases are reported each year, according to Todd Swain, the National Park Service's lone investigator on cultural crimes. Thousands of Mustangs that now roam the West would be moved to preserves in the Midwest and East under a new Interior Department plan to protect wild horse herds and the rangelands that support them. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar said that the plan would not require killing any wild horses. Interior Department officials had warned in recent months that slaughtering some of the 69,000 wild horses and burros under federal control might be necessary to combat rising cost of maintaining them. Nearly 37,000 wild horses and burros roam in Nevada, California, and Wyoming and other western states, and another 32,000 horses and burros are cared for in corrals and pastures in Kansas, Oklahoma, and South Dakota. Salazar said the current program is not sustainable for the animals, the environment, or taxpayers. The wild horse program run by the Bureau of Land Management cost about $50 million this year, officials said, up from $36 million last year. Costs for the current program are expected to rise to at least $85 million by 2012. State wildlife officials say a Florida panther was found dead on the Big Cypress Seminole Reservation in Hendry County, Florida. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission reports that a tracker found the animal recently on the reservation, apparently the victim of a fight with another panther. The carcass will be sent to Gainesville, Florida for necropsy, and the remains will be deposited with the Florida Museum of Natural History. A total of 13 wild panthers have been killed this year in Florida so far. Supporters of the Columbus Day Parade last weekend marched despite freezing temperatures, but police say their numbers were way down from last year. Denver police technician Loretta Bovis says there was also about 12 to 15 protesters at the parade, but no one was arrested. Police did not have a count of how many Columbus Day supporters participated in the parade, but Bovis says the numbers were clearly down from last year. The 40-minute parade included 3 floats, including a replica of the Santa Maria and a Frank Sinatra impersonator. The parade has been contentious in the past years, but the last 2 years have seen no arrest. In 2007, 83 protesters, including American Indian Movement activist Russell Means, were arrested. Most of those charges were dropped, by the way, without any fines or other time going into them. There is art going to the White House, and just some of the native art and artifacts loaned to the White House since President Barack Obama came into the office includes the following. Displayed in the Obama's personal living quarters and from the National Gallery of Art include George Catlin's Crow Chief in his in his toilet. Okay. Comanches lancing a buffalo bull, mired buffalo and wolves, Cheyenne village, grizzly bears attacking buffalo, game of the arrow, Mandan, a foot war party in Consul, Mandan, ball play dance, Choctaw, buffalo chase with accidents, Catlin and Indians attacking buffalo, and then Canisto, Indians attacking two grizzly bears. Also from an unknown artist, Chief Jumper of the Seminoles. On display in the West Wing include, in the Oval Office from the Museum of the American Indian was a vase by Lacey M. Lewis of the Acoma Pueblo, jar by Stephen S. of Iroquois descent, jar by Maria Pivoca Martinez from the San Ildefonso Pueblo, and the bottle intertwining scrolls by Jerry Redcorn, who is Caddo. And talking about the White House, President Barack Obama is inviting American Indian leaders to a White House conference on November 5th. The president says he wants to hear directly from them about how his administration can meet their needs and to help make their lives better. Many Native Americans suffer higher rates of crime and poorer health than the rest of the population. The White House said this week that each of the 564 federally recognized tribes in the U.S. will be invited to send one representative to the White House Tribal Nations Conference. And when they get there, they can admire all the art that the Obamas have there with Native Americans in it. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We certainly want to thank all of you for visiting with us and watching in from time to time. Come visit us again soon. Miigwech.